Hello and welcome back to part 2 of profits prior to incorporation. Today we're going to look at a problem and how to solve it. Let's dive in and read the question first. Ganesh Limited was incorporated on 1st August 2005. It took over the business of Shankar and Shiva with effect from April 1, 2005. From the following figures relating to the year ending March 31, 2006, ascertain profit prior to incorporation and profit after incorporation. Okay, so looking at the data that we have right now, this date, that is August 1st, 2005 and April 1st, 2005, let's draw a timeline. So our timeline is for one entire financial year. Okay, let's draw a timeline here now for this year. So we begin on April 1 and we go on till March 31, right? So we have April 1, 2005 to March 31, 2005. Right, so incorporation actually happened somewhere here on August 1, 2005. We have May, June and July. Yeah, May 1, June 1, 2005 and July 1, 2005. Right, so this is the first month, second month, third month and fourth month. So we have 4 months here. So if you look at the a year, it is 12 months minus 4 months, we're left with 8 months, right? So the ratio of the time is 4:8. Okay, so we have the time ratio set at 4:8. You can also say that this is 1:2. We can also call that as the time ratio. Now if you look at the sales were 60 lakhs for the year, and out of which the sales up to August 1st was 25 lakhs, right? So let's take this figure also, 60 lakhs, okay, minus 25 lakhs. We're left with 35 lakhs. Okay, and so we can come up with a ratio of 5:7 here. Okay, we can come up with a ratio of 5:7, and so this ratio is basically our sales ratio. Okay, our sales ratio. Now we also see that there's a gross profit of 18 lakhs. Okay, we have a gross profit of 18 lakhs. We need to find out how much profit prior to incorporation and how much profit after incorporation. Now we have the details of the expenses that are debited to profit and loss account. Okay, that is rent, salaries, director fees and so on and so forth, and the amounts are placed here. Apart from this, we still have one more information here. This is bad debts. An amount of 5,000 rupees of bad debts, that is relating to debts prior to incorporation. Okay, out of what? Out of this 15,000. So on this we're not going to take a ratio, we're going to put that amount directly as 5,000. So for ease of solving this problem, what I've done is I've put in the accounts here, and I've also brought in the figures onto a far right end column, because this is out of our actual Excel sheet. Okay, the format here is starting from here. We're going to look at this: particulars, basis, profit prior to incorporation, after incorporation. Then we have particulars, profit prior to incorporation and after incorporation, up till here. This is our format. So we have rent at 90,000, we have salaries at 1,50,000, director's fees as 38,000, and so on and so forth. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all of these figures. Okay, we're going to take all of these figures and put them onto our Excel sheet. We're going to put them up on our Excel sheet, and I'm going to show you how to do this using Excel formulas. Okay, now please look at this column here. This is on the basis, right? On the basis of what? On the basis of time ratio or sales ratio. These two ratios. Okay, this time ratio and sales ratio. If you remember, we calculated the ratios 1:2 and 5:7. We'll make use of these two ratios while we're solving this problem. Okay, let's start. If our basis is equal to time ratio, closing parenthesis, and then let's open the parenthesis here. We'll go with double because we're doing a calculation based on that. 9,000 divided by, now if you look at the time ratio here, 2 plus 1 is 3, so we're going to divide that by 3, so we get it into single terms, close that bracket, okay, and then multiply that by 1. Okay, so we got that first value. Now if that is not true, then we need a second value, and that value is on the time ratio. We will either get that value or we need to look at sales ratio. If it's not times ratio, we need to look at sales ratio, and so we look at the same amount or the same figure. Okay, we still have to do double brackets here, divided by 12, okay, into 5. Okay, so this is for the first formula. Okay, so once we hit that, we got our 30,000. Let me remove this. Okay, we got our 30,000. All you have to do is drag and drop till bad debts. Okay, I know these figures do not match it. We'll come back into that. It's a very simple formula, is equal to sum of this amount minus our profit prior to incorporation. We get that answer anyways. We drag and drop it to the bottom. We know we don't have to, we are not calculating these three amounts in the profit prior to incorporation, and so we delete, and those amounts reflect this side. We also know that here in our bad debts we have only 5,000. That is shown here on the other side, right? So we have all of this information in place. Now we need to total the columns so that we know our expenses is equal to sum of, we go to the first cell, hold it and drag it till the bottom, close the bracket, and we have our total here. There's this black plus sign that comes if you hover the mouse over that small dot in that corner and then pull it to the right. You got the total for the second column, the after incorporation, profits after incorporation. Okay, so these two are is equal to sum of totaling these two cells. Okay, I prefer to do that so that whatever we change on this side will reflect on this side. Now if you want to know the net profit, we need to bring in the gross profit here. Okay, and so the easier way of doing it is equal to sum of this amount divided by 12. Okay, let's add, okay, close this bracket, times 5, right? And yes, I didn't put a second bracket at the beginning, so let me do that, and we have got that amount here. Now we have got the amount for profits prior prior to incorporation. We bring it on the other side, and then we can total that for this column also. Yeah. So we have that here, but now instead of 5, let's change it to 7, and we have got a total of 18 lakhs as our gross profit here. Yeah, we can show these amounts. Now, how do we get our net profit? It's very simple. You have to just minus your total from gross profit, right? So sum of this cell, that is the gross profit cell, minus total. Close that bracket, and you got that. You drag it back onto the next cell, and you've got that difference for these two also. If you want to confirm, just click on that. You'll see that the colors are, or the color of the cells on the top and bottom are reflected, and so you know it is there. Copy the entire thing and paste it as values. Now when you paste it as values, even if you delete this one, what happens is those values will not change. Now our figures here will remain static. Here we have gross profit based on the sales ratio prior to incorporation and after incorporation. We already have those figures here. So either we type in those figures, or I prefer is equal to, that's it. That brings that amount there, is equal to this amount. Done. And then even your gross profit at the bottom is equal to sum of, you can take this one like this and close it. Okay, I made a mistake there. Sum S. Okay, that one you drag it here, and then you're good to go. We've got we've got our problem solved, right? I hope you've understood this. We'll look at one more illustration. Chandrakanta Works Limited, a public company, was incorporated as on 1st March 2006, and it received its certificate of commencement of business on 1st April 2006. It took over the business of Kaushlesh & Co. on 1st of January 2006. The purchase consideration was rupees 5 lakhs. Interest on the purchase price was paid on 30th June 2006. So we have certain calculations here, that is total sales for the year 6 lakhs. Okay, and these sales were up to 31st of March 2006. Okay, sorry, 2 lakhs was up to March 2006. Okay, now the gross profit for the year was 2 lakhs 40,000, and then we have the other information here in pertaining to our expenses. One more thing you have to notice is 200 rupees, okay, was our bad debts up to 31st March from the 700. Okay, so that is one thing. Then that's one thing you need to keep in mind, apart from the other information that is given out here, right? Same thing we're going to do here. We're going to basically do the same formulas here and make sure that we have the information from the Excel sheet here. So salaries account, rent, director fees, everything is listed here, and I've put down the amounts also on the far right side. Okay, the format hasn't changed. Particulars, basis, prior to incorporation, after incorporation, particulars prior to incorporation and after incorporation. So let's start with the formula. Let's start here. Is equal to, if, open bracket, our basis is equal to T dot R dot, then put a column, double bracket, the amount divided by 4, that is 3 plus 1 is equal to 4, close that bracket, multiply it by 1 because that's the answer we're looking for. We close this bracket, put a comma there, and we look for the solution if that is false. Okay, if it's true, that's the result we want, but if it is false, what do we want? We want it to go as the sales ratio, because it's either a time ratio or a sales ratio, right? And so here we go into the same amount divided by sales ratio is 1 plus 2, 3, right? 3, close the bracket, multiply it by 1, okay, and then you close that bracket. Now you've got this amount. We're going to drag it till general expenses. Okay, we put in the sum formula is equal to sum of this minus this, right? Our total expenses minus our profits prior to incorporation. We get the amount, we drag and drop it till the last expense there, and then we see which are the accounts that are not going to affect our profits prior to incorporation. We highlight them and delete them, so those figures show up on only after incorporation. The other thing we looked at was bad debts. Our bad debts were 200 out of 700, so we corrected that amount there. Now another thing we have to look in is our interest. Okay, our interest was from 1st of January to 30th of June of that same year, and so that ratio is 1:1. So if you add this, or if you look at this one, there is 15,000. Out of 15,000, half is profit prior to and half is profit after, and therefore 15,000 divided by 2 gives you 7,500. Okay, so our expenses part is done. We're going to total out this this figure here, sum of, just highlight the first cell to the last cell. You got this total. We're going to drag and drop it to the other side. Now even gross profit, we have 2,40,000. We're going to divide that into the ratio of the sales ratio, that is 1:2. Okay, so it's very simple. We're going to take this amount, we're going to divide that by 3, okay, and multiply it by 1 as our prior to incorporation. Okay, profit prior to incorporation. We got that amount there. We will put the same thing on the other side, drag and drop this amount at the selection of the cell there, and this will be 2, profit after incorporation. So we are done here. Now even the net profit is equal to sum of, we select the cell of gross profit minus the total. We got this, drag and drop it on the other side. We're done. Yeah, so our totals match here. I'm not going to look at this column anymore. We have all of our amounts here, and as I've mentioned in the previous sum, all you have to do is copy this and then paste it back in the same place as values. When you do that, you can actually delete this column, and your values are retained. Okay, now coming back to our gross profit on the other side, we can put in that formula of is equal to, select our gross profit, and we're done there. Same thing, you can drag and drop the other side. Now the total also is equal to sum of, if you want you can do this, or you can be creative, and even if you do is equal to this, it gives you the same answer. Okay, I hope you have understood the problem. I have just tried to do it using Excel sheet, but the concept remains the same. Please look at that concept. Why I taught you the Excel sheet way is so that you get a little familiar with using formulas, and getting a little familiar of using the Excel sheet to solve your problem. We'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.